I beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Emerald, but with a twist. If any of my Pokemon faint, I have to kill myself. If any of my Pokemon faint, I have to restart the run from the very beginning. I'll put my specific rules on screen and down in the description as well. As my starter, come on, obviously I chose Mudkip, are you kidding? I kinda like Trico more personally, cause Grovyle's really cool, but that doesn't matter right now. Swampert's too good. Since this was my third attempt and the second one had just died right before starting this one, I was trying to speed through early game. So I was basically only using Mudkip and eventually Marshtomp until Brawly. This Roxanne fight was actually hilarious. Rock Tomb missed 3 times, and then it used Block after healing. Wow, I think that's the first time I've ever taken 0 damage on Roxanne. In the attempt from earlier that day, I got an Encata, and I was really hoping to get another one here because Shedinja's broken, but I got a different broken Pokemon, Taillow. Sadly, it has a minus attack nature, so it's not going to be able to do too much damage. I also ran away from this Whismur. I should have caught it, but I guess I wasn't paying enough attention. Oh well. As soon as I get to Dewford, I get the Old Rod and fish up a Magikarp on Route 107 and a Tentacool on Route 106. I get Makuhita in Granite Cave, which I rarely get to use, so I'm pretty excited about it. Its ability is Thick Fat, by the way, not Guts, which I'm perfectly okay with. The Wurmple I got ends up evolving into Cascoon and then Dustox, which I use to solo Brawly. Dustox also gets the move Protect naturally, which may come in handy against Norman later. Hariyama evolves really early at level 24, so we have 3 fully evolved Pokemon before the 3rd gym in Mightyena, Hariyama, and Gyarados, which makes the section on the way to Watson a breeze. We encounter Minun on Route 110, which I'm not excited about, and will surely not carry me to victory. For May, I take care of Wingull with Marshtomp, and then use Gyarados for Grovyle, eventually going back to Marshtomp for Schmormy. This fight has a reputation for being really tough, but that's usually just for speedrunners who only use Marshtomp here. With Gyarados, it's pretty free, just like everything else ever. Watson's Voltorb doesn't use Self-Destruct, just Rollouting instead, and Magneton misses with Supersonic, so Marshtomp is able to sweep. On Route 114, we get Azumarill, which I'm really excited to see before Flannery. I go to check its ability, and for the first time ever, I'm disappointed to see Huge Power. Its other ability is Thick Fat, and 4x resisting fire is insanely helpful for tanking sun-boosted overheats from Flannery's monster turtle, but whatever. I get a Swablu on Route 112, which is another encounter I'm pretty pleased with because Altaria is decently bulky and has access to Dragon Dance. We get a Zubat in Meteor Falls, and Crobat's really good and finally has access to Sludge Bomb in this generation for hard-hitting stab damage. My last attempt died to Flannery, so I'm really scared, but I plan on trying to just sleep with Azumarill. I give Cherry Berries to Azumarill and a few other Pokemon in case Body Slam paralyzes, but the main threat is definitely Sunny Day boosted overheats, especially because Torkoal's White Herb means we have to tank 2 before its special attack gets weakened. And its White Smoke ability means we can't break the White Herb, or even weaken Body Slam. Anyway, we one-shot Numel and Smormy, but somehow we don't even put Camerupt in the red with a 4x Bubble Beam. Camerupt. That's definitely gonna kill. Wait, what? Really? How? Why is that doing like the same amount of damage that Water Gun did from Marshtomp? How? B-Beam? It's doing nothing. Body Slam? Okay. B-Beam. Sunny Day up, okay. Alright. Now things get interesting. So I use Strength and get hit with Body Slam again as my Cherry Berry procs. I know Flannery is healing right now, so I'm free to do another chip with Strength, so Gyarados can 2-shot with Dragon Rage. I believe Torkoal has 88 HP, so it doesn't quite get 2-shot with Dragon Rage normally. Gyarados takes almost 50% from the sun-boosted overheat as it switches in, and then gets hit with Attract as we Dragon Rage. I decide I'm not going to play through Attract, so I just go to Marshtomp on a Body Slam. The sun is still up, so I go for Mud Shot over Water Gun, and thankfully don't miss, and we take it down. God, Flannery is unfair. Speaking of unfair, Norman's Slacking is easy to cheese with the move Protect, but getting the Protect Pokemon in front of Slacking safely is the tricky part. I lead with Hariyama, who's holding a Person Berry to cure the Teeter Dance confusion, but we somehow outspeed and knock it out with Arm Thrust. Harry one-shots Vigoroth with a Vital Throw, and then Lunatone. Now Slacking comes out, and it seems like Azumarill was the Pokemon with the highest chance of surviving a crit facade, so I pivot through it on counter, and then go into Dustox on a loafing turn. From there we can just protect and Toxic Stall. This is nerve-wracking because we are boosting its facade damage with Toxic, but it can't hit us as long as we keep protecting on the right turn. I do get confused when Norman heals and even go back to check the VOD and verify that it was a loafing turn, but it all works out. Winona's a bit of a monster just because of her Altaria with Dragon Dance snowball potential and its simple coverage of flying and ground type attacks. And the chance to paralyze with Dragon Breath doesn't help either. I lead with Tentacruel, who I taught Ice Beam, but we can't quite take out Swablu as it Perish Songs. I was really expecting Dragon Dance because it shouldn't see a kill, but it uses Earthquake for some reason as we do a ton of damage with Ice Beam. Thankfully we dodged the crit though. Then we switch to Crobat as it Dragon Dances, when it could have definitely killed us with Earthquake. I don't know what the AI is doing. It hits us with Aerial Ace for a chunk before we take it down with a Sludge Bomb, and Winona's main threat is down. Tropius almost dies to a Sludge Bomb, but it hangs on as I switch to Electrode because I'm scared of Tropius now that it's set up a Sunny Day and has Chlorophyll. But I go back to Crobat after it heals, and it barely takes anything from an Aerial Ace, and we even outspeed through Chlorophyll. Electrode comes back in to spark Pelipper, and then Skarmory for the win. There's tons of story stuff between Winona and Tate and Liza, but it's all pretty easy, and I don't end up getting any encounters that are too noteworthy. I had an interesting strategy planned for Tate and Liza, but I made a bit of a mistake, and that made things much more difficult. I lead with Swampert and Dustox in the Psychic Gym? I went and fought the news team and used Dragon Rage on my own Dustox to get it to an HP where Xatu and Claydol should both see kills on Dustox with only Psychic. That damage on Swampert is a mistake, by the way, ignore that. So Swampert can fire off some spread damage with Surf safely, while Dustox protects, and then again on the next turn while I bring in Crawdaunt with its Psychic immunity. My mistake was that this thing's moveset is terrible. I meant to teach Surf, and I should have also taught Strength, but it looks like we're stuck with Bubble Beam. Xatu sets up a Sunny Day as Claydol smacks us with Earthquake, and Surf fails to take out Claydol thanks to the sun. For some reason I targeted Xatu with Bubble Beam, which at least gets a speed drop, but they live and both heal on the next turn as I Strength Xatu and Bubble Beam Claydol. I switch Gyarados in to keep Crawdaunt safe from an Earthquake crit. Swampert gets its health taken very low from Earthquake and Psychic. I kill Xatu with Strength as I switch Mightyena in for Swampert for another Intimidate on Claydol, so Earthquake barely does a fourth. I use Surf with Gyarados, but it's barely doing anything through the sun, and I hit Claydol with Strength as it uses Earthquake and Lunatone sets up a Calm Mind. The sun fades, so this Surf does more respectable damage, and Claydol Earthquakes before getting taken down by Mightyena's Strength, and Lunatone sets up a Light Screen. Lunatone's only damaging move is Psychic, so if we can eliminate Solrock, then two Dark types can safely finish it off, no matter how weak they are. However, Lunatone still has Hypnosis, so it can be disruptive. I use Surf again as Solrock sets up Sunny Day, and I swap Banette in for Mightyena, as Lunatone goes for Hypnosis. Because I totally remembered that Banette has Insomnia. Okay, Insomnia on the Hypnosis. I'm a genius. I totally knew that that's what was happening. I definitely knew that. Okay. Then I Surf with Gyarados through the sun and Light Screen. What the fuck am I doing? And switch Crawdaunt back in for Banette as they both Psychic into Crawdaunt. Then I Dragon Rage Solrock and switch Dustox back in for Crawdaunt, and it eats a Solar Beam and dodges Hypnosis. Since they both see kills on Dustox, we're safe to protect again and Dragon Rage Solrock. They heal Solrock as I bring Crawdaunt back in on a Psychic from Lunatone. The sun is faded, so Solrock starts charging a Solar Beam. As we Dragon Rage and Bubble Beam it down, we can finally bring in Mightyena to wall Lunatone with Crawdaunt. Jesus, that was a mess. I accidentally taught over Bite on Mightyena as well, and I was too lazy to go scale it back, so that in combination with not having Surf on Crawdaunt just made this rough. My underwater encounter is a Chinchou, and I love that because Lantern is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's actually the very first shiny Pokemon I ever encountered back when I was a little kid playing Pokemon Emerald, but I didn't have any Pokeballs. Oops. But yeah, Lantern has great typing and decent bulk. My first attempt at a hardcore deathless Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke died to Juan's Kingdra after it got out of control with Double Team, so I was pretty nervous here. But Ludicolo can delete Luvdisc, Whiscash, and Celio with Giga Drain. When Kingdra comes out, I go to Lantern and I get a Shockwave crit as it sets up Double Teams. Then it rests and eats its Chesto Berry. I keep clicking Shockwave as it confuses with Water Pulse, and we put it back in rest range with another Shockwave after we snap out. I bring it back down to rest range again and it goes to sleep. I decide to just start stalling it out, so I go to sleep and eat my own Chesto Berry and click Thunderwave a few times till it connects. I go to Gyarados and Rock Smash to waste some more time and absorb some more damage, then go to Wailord and start wasting time with Water Pulse till Kingdra uses Rest again. I use Rest when I get down to about half, and then eat another Chesto Berry. I try to get Hariyama in to Vital Throw occasionally while it's sleeping, and let Ludicolo tank Water Pulses once it runs out of Ice Beam. Eventually it's out of attacking moves, and Hariyama breaks through with perfect accuracy Vital Throws. Then Crawdaunt comes out and gets one shot as well. For Wally, I was planning on stalling out the Magneton and letting Altaria set up Dragon Dance so I could safely deal with Gardevoir, so I lead with Tentacruel and two-shot Altaria with Ice Beam. Here's where I expect Magneton, but out comes Gardevoir. Gardevoir. Huh. Well, fuck. I forgot that the AI likes to choose a Pokemon that can hit you super effectively, but with a weaker defensive typing, or something like that. Since Magneton has a poison immunity, it chose Gardevoir instead, making this way scarier. I think is how that works at least. I go to Lantern to slow it down with Thunderwave as it sets up a Future Sight and does roughly 50% with Psychic. I go to Swampert as it sets up a Calm Mind, and we get hit with Future Sight for about a third. We miss with Mudshot! But Gardevoir thankfully gets fully paralyzed. Next Mudshot connects as it sets up a Future Sight. We hit with Mudshot again, and then it uses Double Team. I make the questionable call of clicking Surf, and if we miss, this Swampert is probably just going to take a boosted Psychic and Future Sight this turn and die, but we connect and take it out. Jesus. Altaria can take out Rosalia, and then chip Delcatty before Hariyama comes out on a Missing, and then kills with Vital Throw after Charm. Then we just tank the Thunderbolt from Mag and kill with Earthquake. I was not ready for that. Also, this one Victory Road Trainer deserved to end the run, I'm not even gonna lie. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I did not see that coming. Oh my god. Endeavor and Double Team. Okay, fuck you, Pokemon Emerald. That's just evil. Here's my box before the Elite Four if you want to think about what team you would have brought. I run around and do a bunch of prep work, using Heart Scales to get back some moves I think I might need, and eventually the team I bring is Mightyena, Hariyama, Gyarados, Wailord, Lantern, and Minun. I didn't expect to bring Minun to the Elite Four at first, until I remember to get some of the best moves in the game. For Sydney, we lead Mightyena into Mightyena for the Intimidate and Protect stall, and then go to Gyarados for another. It gets a big double edge crit to deal over 50%, so we go back to Mightyena for another Intimidate, and then to Lantern to hit it with Thunderwave. But we get crit with Crunch, so I just Protect and then go back to Mightyena. After a long series of switching and protecting and resting, we eventually cause Mightyena to run out of moves and start struggling. From here we can just send in Minun to spam Agility, and then Baton Pass to Hariyama, who can use Belly Drum and Brick Break through everything with ease. Phoebe's lead Dusclops really likes to use Protect on turn 1 for some reason, so we just lead Minun and Agility one time and then lock it into Protect with Encore. We can then Baton Pass to Hariyama, and since it stays locked into Protect, we're free to set up a Belly Drum and then one-shot everything with Earthquake. Phoebe's team is pretty slow, so one Agility boost is all we need. If Encore ended on turn 2, we would have had to get a little creative, but thankfully it didn't. Glacier's lead Celio only has Ice Ball and Body Slam as attacking moves. It also really loves setting up Hail, so we can Charm with Minun on turn 1, then lock it into Hail with Encore, and Charm 2 more times to minimize its attack. From here, we can just stall it out with Rest and Protect from Lantern and Wailord, who both resist Ice Ball, and since we can keep breaking it before it builds up power, it can't do too much damage. It eventually starts to struggle, and Minun comes into Agility 2 times, and Baton Pass to Hariyama, Belly Drum, and Brick Break through everything. Drake Shelgon is like Phoebe's lead Dusclops, it just really loves to spam Protect. So I pivot between Mightyena and Gyarados till it's at minimum attack, and use Wailord with Amnesia, Rest, and Protect to help stall out Dragon Claw as well. It eventually starts to struggle, and Minun can Agility 3 times before Baton Passing to Hariyama for the Belly Drum and Sweep. Since Salamence has Intimidate, I give Hariyama a Silk Scarf to guarantee the KO with return. I decide to lead Minun into Wailord because it really loves to open the fight with a Rain Dance, so I lock it into that with Encore after using Charm to weaken its double edge. I keep charming and eventually try to lock it back into Rain Dance after Encore ends, but it fails. No. No, dude. What? Whoa, we lived that? For some reason, I thought Rain Dance was 10 PP, not 5. I was probably confused because Hail has 10. Well, Minon's health is low, but it still should be able to take minimum attack struggles later, so we continue with the plan of stalling everything out. I used my Wailord against Wallace's Wailord, and set up some amnesia and weakened its Water Spout by lowering its HP with my own Water Spout. It starts struggling eventually, and Minon switches in as it gets fully paralyzed. I set up 1 agility as it hits us with struggle, but it doesn't crit, so we only take 10 damage. We should outspeed everything with Hariyama with just 1 agility, since the rain is down and Ludicolo doesn't get the Swift Swim speed boost. Since I don't need to risk another struggle crit, we baton pass immediately to Hariyama and Belly Drum and sweep. In retrospect, I probably should have just used Gyarados to sweep once Minon's health got low, since it did have Dragon Dance. But what's the fun in that? I did it! We beat the champion. But since I'm using rare candies, I might as well fight Steven too. Probably doesn't want to use like spikes or toxic. Wow. Pokemon Emerald AI is hilarious. You can totally neuter a Pokemon and make it start struggling, and they won't switch, but give it the chance to switch a ground type in on an electric move and...
You gonna make me act up. You gonna make me do something I'm gonna regret.
I wanted to set up on Claydol anyway, so that's perfect. I use Intimidate from Gyarados and Growl from Swampert to minimize Claydol's attack and protect Stall till it's out of Earthquake and Ancient Power. Then I just go to Minun, to Agility in its face, and Baton Pass to Hariyama for the Belly Drum, Brick Break, Sweep. This was a lot of fun. Emerald is pretty hard, but you have access to some pretty good Pokemon, and the abundance of useful berries and a few other utility items is helpful too. I hope it wasn't too boring having the last 6 fights all use the same strategy basically, but it was really interesting to try and figure it all out safely. Not relying on Encore lasting a certain length and trying to play around crits and stuff. The Tate and Liza fight was probably the scariest part for me. That was awful. Thanks so much for watching. I'll probably try to do Deathless Sword next, so if you want to see that live, check out my Check out my Twitch where I stream everything.